Hi, boys and girls. This is Ms. Kathy. I'm so happy you've joined me today for another story just for you. Flying alone. "Excuse me," someone called. Didi Adams looked past her left handlebar at the green car that was rolling along on the street beside her bike path. The driver's window was rolled down, and a man was leaning toward her. "Can you tell me how to find 5th Street? I have a map here, but I can't seem to find it." Didi shook her head. "I don't live around here. Sorry." Then her path turned in closer to the lake, and she left the car behind. One of the things Didi loved most was riding her bicycle, fast. That's why she liked to come to Circle Lake Park. The bike paths there were smooth and straight, and when no one else was on the paths, she could really fly. This time, no one else was around, not even her mother. Didi was supposed to be with her friend Maria Vargas and her family. Circle Lake Park wasn't far from their house, and Mrs. Vargas liked to spend warm afternoons there while the girls rode their bikes and Yo-Yo played on the swings. Didi knew the Vargases were on their way. Her mother had called them from her cell phone before she drove away. "Didi," she had said as she hung up and helped get the bike out of the car, "Mrs. Vargas says that they're leaving their house now. They should be here in 3 or 4 minutes, so I'm going. You wait by the swings until they get here, and stay away from the lake." Didi had waited by the swings for a long time, at least 5 minutes, she was sure. Then she decided to ride in their direction to find them sooner. She was surprised when she still couldn't see them coming toward the park. She was also surprised to see that she was riding along the bike path and going faster all the time. "I'm sure it will be okay if I fly around the park once while I wait," she said to herself. So off Didi flew, around the end of the lake, under the shady trees, past the fire hydrant, around the big bushes, and back to the swings. This time there was no one on the path. In fact, she was the only person in the whole park. There were a few cars parked along the roads around the edges, but she didn't see anyone inside them. Maybe that's why she was surprised to see the green car again, following along beside her on the street. "That man sure is lost," she said to herself. "He's driving in circles." As she pedaled faster around the end of the lake, the car fell behind and disappeared. "Good," Didi said out loud. She didn't think about it again until she flew past the swings for the second time. Suddenly, there was the green car again, cruising beside her on the street. "Hey, that man is following me," Didi thought. "Oh, I wish Maria and her mother were here." Didi didn't know what else to do, so she just kept riding, but she was getting tired and going slower and slower. This time, the car followed her all the way around the end of the lake and turned with Didi as she rolled slowly under the trees. Didi tried not to look at the car, but she could hear its tires as they rolled along the street next to the park. Then she remembered something. "Oh, no. When I go past the fire hydrant, the bike path is right next to the street. What if he jumps out and tries to grab me?" She was too scared to stop. Didi ducked her head down and tried to pedal fast again. She tried to stop breathing so hard and think. "What did Mother say I should do if I'm in danger?" "Look for a police officer or an adult in charge. But the only adult around is the man in the car." Then Didi remembered one other thing to do. "God," she prayed with her eyes open, "I'm scared. I'm all alone and I don't know what to do. Please help me." Didi sneaked a peek toward the street. The green car had pulled up even with her. "Excuse me," the man called again. "Can you come over here and help me?" Before she could think, Didi saw something move in front of her bike. She slammed on the brakes just in time to slide by a man in a blue uniform. A policeman. The policeman grabbed her handlebars and pulled her bike up straight. "I'm going to have to give you a ticket for speeding," he announced in a loud voice. Didi almost fainted. But where are your parents?" the man demanded. Then he winked. Now Didi was really confused. The officer stared after the green car that was pulling away quickly. Then he looked down at Didi. "Are you okay?" Didi could only nod her head. The officer smiled. "I'm Officer Lopez. I was watching you, and you looked scared. Do you know that man in the green car? Was he following you?" Didi took a deep breath. "I'm Didi, and I've never seen him before, but he kept following me around the park and asking questions." Officer Lopez frowned. "Did he want you to come to his car?" Didi nodded. "You did the right thing to stay away from a stranger. Just a minute. Let me radio in his license plate number so the other officers can keep an eye out for him." Then he walked to a plain car parked next to where Didi had stopped. "Hey, that's not a police car," Didi said. Officer Lopez smiled as he reached in and picked up a radio walkie-talkie. "It's an unmarked car. Where did you think I was hiding while I watched you?" After he talked to the police station for a few minutes, he came back to Didi. "Now, what are you doing here all alone? Where are your parents?" Didi's eyes got big. "I'm here with friends. At least I'm waiting for my friend Maria and her mother. They are here." She pointed to where the Vargases were coming into the park. "I was supposed to wait for them by the swings before I rode my bike around the park." Officer Lopez walked with Didi toward the Vargases. "It's not usually safe for you to be alone, even in the park. Stay with a friend and with an adult if you can. You did the right thing today. Never go to a car to talk to a stranger, even if they ask for your help. No adult really needs help from kids. If you're ever afraid that someone is going to grab you and take you away, remember to scream as loud as you can. That will get some attention, and the bad person will usually leave." "I'm going to ride with a friend from now on," Didi declared. "I sure am glad you were watching me. I thought I was all alone." That Sabbath in the shoebox, Mrs. Shue said, "Our lesson talks about how God helped and protected Moses and Miriam in a way they never would have imagined. Do you think that kind of thing happens today?" Didi smiled and raised her hand.
The story you have heard today is from the Shoebox Kids Bible Stories, written by Jerry D. Thomas and used with permission from the Pacific Press Publishing Association. If you're interested in any other books published by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, please visit AdventistBookCenter.com or call 1-800-765-6955.
This podcast is a production of the Carolina Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.